Kai stood there facing his grandfather, his posture rigid, his eyes sharp as he asked whether he intended to deny him his birthright as well, all in the name of protecting the family legacy. His grandfather looked at him closely, scanning him from head to toe before responding that he did not qualify, that his father had not qualified, and that he did not qualify either. Kai stepped closer, frustration edging into his expression as he told him that it was unfair, that just because his father had failed did not mean he should be placed in the same category. He added that he was willing, unlike Lee Wei, who had been forced, and that his grandfather should free Lee Wei and allow him to take his place instead. His grandfather looked at him in silence, the pause heavy and stinging, before finally speaking again. His tone sharpened as he repeated that Kai did not qualify and never would. He told him that he should take Amara and leave, and while he was at it, he should talk her into letting Lee Wei go, because what was about to happen to her if she continued to resist would not be pleasant. Kai let out a small, mocking laugh as he looked at him and stated that he wished his death was real and not fake, that he should flatter himself because soon he would be dead, and that if Lee Wei did not do it, he would do it himself. With that, he glanced at Amara and told her that they should leave. Amara shook her head, refusing, telling him that she would not leave without seeing Lee Wei, that she knew he was there, and that she wanted to talk to him. Kai looked at her, frustration evident, as he told her that it was because Lee Wei did not want to see her. He added that Lee Wei obviously knew she was there, and knowing the kind of person he was, he would have come rushing to her. But the fact that he had not shown up told her everything she needed to know, that he did not want to see her, and that he had chosen the family legacy over her. Amara, tears welling in her eyes, shook her head again, telling him that she refused to believe it, that Lee Wei would never do such a thing, that he would never. Kai's voice remained firm as he told her that it seemed like he did, that she needed to believe it, and that seeing him would not make any difference, that it would only hurt her further. Her voice shaky, Amara looked at him and said that maybe they had kidnapped Lee Wei, that they were hurting him and forcing him to do this unwillingly. Kai held her by the shoulders, as if trying to anchor her, telling her that she knew who Lee Wei was, and that he could not be forced to do anything he did not want to do. He added that this was far more dangerous than she thought, and that she had a whole future ahead of her rather than being entangled with a cruel, rich Chinese family. He grabbed her hand more firmly and told her again that they needed to leave. But Amara stood her ground, telling him that she would not leave, that she did not want to leave without Lee Wei, that they needed to save him, that he was being hurt and made to do something he did not want. Lee Wei's grandfather chuckled softly and looked at her before taking out his cell phone. He pressed it and turned it toward her, showing her a CCTV video of Lee Wei in the backyard garden, running around and playing with a dog, clearly happy, laughing freely. Amara stared at the video before her, as though struggling to believe what she was seeing. The old man looked at her and asked whether Lee Wei looked like someone who was being held against his will. He stated that, just as he had said, he and Lee Wei were on the same page, and that she needed to stop being delusional with her assumptions. Amara said nothing. She simply kept her gaze fixed on the video before her. Kai looked at her and leaned in, telling her that as she could see, Lee Wei seemed fine, that he had made his choice, and that they should leave. Amara stood there frozen, tears streaming down her face, her body unmoving. Kai held her hand again, his voice soft and calm, as he told her that they should leave. This time, she let him lead her away, her body weak, her heart aching. Lee Wei's grandfather watched them as they walked away, his expression slowly hardening. He turned to the guard and told him that if she still refused to do as he had said, they should proceed to Plan B. The guard immediately nodded, acknowledging the instruction. Meanwhile, on the top terrace, Lee Wei stood looking down, watching Amara leave with Kai. His heart shattered at the sight as his fists clenched tightly at his sides. He thought about how all he wanted in that moment was to rush to her, hold her tightly, and tell her everything. But he could not risk it. Not her life. Not his life. This was the only way, even though it tore both of them apart in the most painful and gruesome way. He stood there, his fingers clenched tightly around the necklace locket resting against his chest, watching her struggle to walk away, her steps unsteady, her body clearly hurting. He did not move, did not breathe properly, his gaze fixed on her until the distance between them felt unbearable. From behind him, his grandfather appeared. He stood there beside him, his presence heavy, and told him that he had better pray Amara listened to what she had been told, because if she did not, things would become complicated and would not end well for her. Lee Wei kept his gaze turned away, his expression dark, his eyes burning with restrained fury. The mere presence of his grandfather triggered something violent within him, something raw and consuming. Disgust curled in his chest, and for a moment all he could think about was ending him right there, in that very moment. He gathered himself, forcing his rage down, and turned to face him, his voice steady but edged with warning as he reminded him that they had agreed he would not hurt Amara, that she was innocent in all of this. He added that he had agreed to do whatever was demanded of him, that he had cut ties with her, and that there was no need to continue bothering her. His grandfather studied him closely, as though weighing every word that left his mouth, before finally responding that while Lee Wei might have cut ties with her, Amara herself might not do the same. She might continue to interfere, and something would need to be done about that. Lee Wei met his gaze and told him that she would eventually retreat, that there was no need to pressure her further, and that he would make sure of it. The old man stepped closer, his voice low as he warned him that he had better do exactly that, because otherwise things could end badly for her. He added that he was glad Lee Wei was more level-headed than his father had been, and that he hoped they would restore the family legacy together. Lee Wei remained silent for a moment, looking at him, before forcing a smile onto his face and telling him that they would. With that, he turned and walked back toward the house. The moment he stepped inside, the workers bowed deeply, addressing him as young master. He froze mid-step, his body stiffening as the words registered. He turned back to them and told them not to call him that. One of them explained that they had been instructed to do so and that they were only following orders. Lee Wei's eyes sharpened as he stepped closer, his presence suddenly intimidating, and stated that if they truly considered him the young master and heir, then they would do exactly as he said. They immediately nodded in agreement. Lee Wei walked away without another word. Behind him, the workers exchanged glances, murmuring among themselves that he looked frightening, that if he truly took over, he would be trouble. Lee Wei entered his room and shut the door behind him. The silence inside was suffocating. He reached for his cell phone and immediately dialed Amara's number, his thumb hovering as the urge to hear her voice overwhelmed him. He wanted to tell her he missed her, wanted to tell her everything. He hesitated, his breath uneven, before finally pressing the call button. The phone rang for a few moments. Then she answered. Amara sat in the car with Kai, her hands gripping her phone tightly as she kept calling out for Lee Wei. There was silence on the other end, nothing but the faint sound of his breathing. She could tell he was on the line, could feel it in the pauses, the way the line carried his presence without words. She spoke anyway, her voice trembling and desperate, telling him that she missed him, that she loved him, that she hoped he was safe. She told him she knew he couldn't just do something like this without a reason, that she didn't understand the reason, but she trusted him, that she would wait for him, that she couldn't wait to be in his arms again. Kai glanced at her for a moment, his expression unreadable, and then he drove them further into the complex. They had arrived. Amara remained on the line, her lips moving silently, waiting for Lee Wei to speak, waiting for him to respond. Kai reached over, grabbing the phone from her hands. His voice was sharp, commanding as he spoke into the receiver, telling Lee Wei that if he had anything to say, he should say it now, that he should stop being a coward. With that, he hung up. Amara looked at him, stunned, asking why he had done that. Kai's gaze stayed locked on hers, his eyes serious and unyielding as he told her that she needed to try and move on, that if she kept clinging to this, she might end up dead. He told her that what she had to do now was get her things from Lee Wei's house, move out, focus on her studies, and try to ignore whatever Lee Wei was doing as much as she could, that she should not get involved because it wasn't safe. She said nothing. Her eyes shimmered with tears as she asked him how she was supposed to just move on. Kai leaned closer, his hand lingering near hers, his voice softening but firm, telling her that she needed to find something to focus on, her studies, anything, and that if she couldn't, she should at least pretend, fake it if she had to. He told her that Lee Wei didn't want to involve her because he was scared for her safety, and the only way for her to be safe was to move on, to pretend, to fake it if necessary. Amara nodded slowly, tears streaming freely down her cheeks now. Kai's chest tightened at the sight, his heart breaking with every sob she couldn't hold back. He stretched his hand out slowly, reaching for her face. All he wanted at that moment was to wipe away her tears, to comfort her, to make the world a little lighter for her. Unbeknownst to them, Wubin stood nearby, vaping quietly, his eyes fixed on them. He watched as Kai's hand moved toward her, taking in the tension, the fragility, the weight of everything in that single moment. Before Kai could touch Amara's face, Wubin knocked sharply on the car window, and Kai froze, his hand hanging mid-air. Amara looked up at him, her voice soft but determined, telling him that she would take his advice and try her best, that she had better go. She thanked him and stepped out of the car, her steps deliberate, leaving a quiet weight behind her. Wubin slid into the driver's seat, breaking the silence that had stretched between them. His gaze locked on Kai as he spoke, calm but firm, telling him not to think about it, not to entertain any such thoughts. If he already had, he needed to let them go immediately. Kai frowned, asking him what he meant, and Wubin leaned back slightly, his voice steady, stating that he knew exactly what he was talking about. Amara belonged to Lee Wei, and if Kai had even begun to develop feelings, he had to let go. The person who would be hurt most in the end would be him. He spoke from experience, from the deep ache of loving someone already devoted to another, someone practically like a brother to him. Kai remained silent, his jaw tight, his hands gripping the seat. Wubin continued, his tone unwavering, insisting that he had to listen, that he could not act on whatever fleeting thoughts he had. Finally, Kai spoke, his voice low but firm, insisting it wasn't what Wubin thought. He was only being kind, feeling sorry for her, and he was not that sort of person to develop feelings for a girl who was with his cousin. Wubin leaned in closer, scrutinizing him, asking if he was certain. Kai nodded, adamant, denying any feelings for Amara, insisting he never would, that she was practically his cousin-in-law. Not wanting to linger on the topic, he told Wubin to drop it and started the car, driving off as the tension slowly eased in the cabin. Meanwhile, Momo stood alone in the backyard, cigarette pressed between her fingers, the smoke curling around her face as she coughed violently, forcing it away. Her other hand clutched the watch Master Shen had given her, knuckles white as though trying to contain a scream. Ming approached quietly, standing beside her, telling her smoking was bad for her health. But Momo didn't look at him, lost in her own struggle. He stepped closer and gently but firmly grabbed the cigarette from her fingers, snapping it out and throwing it away. His eyes softened as he looked at her, noticing the attempt to appear strong, to mask the turmoil inside her. He told her she didn't have to pretend, that she could cry if she wanted to, that with him she didn't have to be strong. he wouldn't judge her. She had just lost her father, and no matter how much she hated him, his blood ran through her, connecting them, making pain inevitable. Momo turned to him, her expression hard, almost defiant, stating that she didn't feel pain, that he was dead, that the only pain was the fact that he was gone, no longer alive for her to continue hating, to continue torturing, to continue making his life miserable. Ming's gaze fell to her hand, seeing the tight grip on the wristwatch she held, realizing how much she was holding in, the weight she refused to release. She looked away and muttered that she had to check on Amara, that she seemed to be back. Before she could move, Ming reached for her, pulling her back gently. His lips brushed against hers in a soft, lingering kiss, his hands cradling her face as he whispered that he hoped the kiss would ease her pain, that he would always be there if she needed to cry. Momo's cheeks flushed, a faint smile tugging at her lips as she teased him for becoming naughty and warned that she needed to keep him in line. With that, she turned and hurried to the house, leaving Ming standing in the yard, watching her go. Relief washed over him that he had been able to bring her some comfort, and he found himself smiling despite everything. Immediately, he snapped back to reality, hitting his forehead lightly, murmuring to himself, questioning why it felt like he was falling for her when he had once hated her presence.